Welcome back to D's RCs. Today we're out on the rocks with a little bit of a head-to-head competition. We got 4 comp trucks up front and then a bit of a wild card back there. Let's first talk about the Vanquish mullet. We have the Fusion Pro as well as some KM3 tires. Next up we have the SCX10 Pro. This is running the maxxis trepador tires. Also inside we have a Fusion Pro. Beside that we have a RTR Vanquish stance. Everything's pretty much stock on there outside of I threw on some of the brass knuckles. Other than that, everything's running stock there. Over here we have the redcat Fusion. Again, pretty much everything's stock outside of running some high racks on some brass injora wheels. The Vanquish stance is running the stock 2-stage foams. Those seem to be pretty good. No issues there. All the other vehicles are running the meus pink up front and orange in the rear inserts. Those seem to be working really well for me, so that's pretty much been my go-to. Back here we have the actual version 1 Enduro Builders Kit. I would really like to see the Fox Comp Fox. I don't see a whole lot online about it, so if you guys know something good or bad about it or why it's not that popular, let me know. But in terms of the version 1 Enduro Builders Kit, it seems to hang with these other guys, so I couldn't only imagine the Comp Fox would do that much better. Inside we have a Fusion SE. We got some desert lizard shocks troop setup. Have running Jay's Concepts Bossman tires and just some cheap Injora wheels. And like the other trucks, running meus inserts. On this one we actually have oranges all the way around, only because they're a little bit small for this tire, so I didn't want to go too soft with pinks up front. So there we have it. Let's see how they do on the rocks. Okay, first up we have Fusion. Made up the first obstacle, no problem. And no problem with the second. Super easy first obstacle. Gotta take it back up so it doesn't tip over here. Shut up the DX6 over there. Let's come back in for that. I think that was more driver's error than anything. There we go. Much better. Now we have the SCX10 Pro. One thing I didn't mention about this truck is I do have the servo selectable setup for the 1-to-1 and 40% overdrive. Right now I'm going to go ahead and switch that into the 40% overdrive to help get up over this obstacle. And running that selectable is the Reefs 179 micro servo. Super slow, super easy. Spoke a little bit too soon as I too busy talking here. Right there I just selected it, the 1-to-1, and it pushes it over, no problem. 40% overdrive. no problem going out that way. I was hoping to be able to come in a little bit closer, make the line a little bit harder, but hitting this side over here, it just slid off. So otherwise, same line as the other trucks, no problem. All right, next up we have the mullet. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't gonna buy this one. Looking at that third member and the way they did it and how it hangs down, kind of turned me off to it. Didn't want to pick it up at first. As I'm talking, that's not in the initial line that I took, so let me come back over here and put the line the other truck did. But then I watched the video and was like, mentioned that it didn't really matter, and I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter until it does. Typically, yeah, if you're not having jagged rocks in between and you're driving on kind of flat surfaces, yeah, the tires, being that quarter axle, does push you up and over before the drive shaft hits. But driving out here in my terrain, I'm sure a lot of other people's out there, where it's rocky and jagged, things will catch that drive shaft. Not that I've had a big problem so far, but if it was done better, it'd be appreciated. All right, last up, we have the Enduro Builders Kit. Again, this thing's old. Very first version. I have like up to version 3 now, I believe. And not even being a comp truck, this thing just gets it done. No problem. All right, for this next one, we got a pretty decent incline here that we're gonna be working up. Nothing too crazy, but okay. Then we're gonna work our way up and around, and then we're gonna look a little bit at the descents coming across down through all these loose rocks. First up, redcat fusion. I'll tell you, one of the biggest challenges about driving the Vanquish stance after the other vehicles is that with this motor and radio being the RTR, it's very, very touching compared to being able to set a little bit of expo and slow throttle control of the Fusions. We're going to switch to 40% overdrive. And then once we get to the top of the hill, that 40% will also help us out turning. But it looks like we're getting there we go. I don't know why that front end wanted to get so wild on me. Likes it nice and slow. There we go. Business, good time guy, mullet. One thing I like about these Vanquish is the mullet and the stance are the rock sliders. These things are really effective and work really well. And I really like to get on these rocks and watch them work. A little close to the camera. See if we can get through this last video here. The GoPro keeps on overheating. But yeah, as I was saying, this Enduro, it does every bit as good. Some cases maybe even better.